people go to Hollywood as established stars in other countries. Today's guest, Carolina Lopez, is one of those stars. Let's talk about the Hollywood transition. Carolina,
Well,
welcome to the
first,
spotlight. How are you?
thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm doing great. Excited to see you. It's always amazing seeing you.
Oh yeah, I mean, you're such
So,
lovely energy, and but let's get into your career because you really have had an extraordinary career in Colombia, starring in many television series. And I remember we became friends. We met in LA, and then I looked up your IMDb after we met. I was like, oh, she's so nice. And then I was like, wait, what the heck? Like some of your credits are like 130 episodes, 85 episodes. Like you've hundreds and hundreds of episodes. What the heck? What's going on? Like, how did you get started? How did this happen? It's unbelievable.
well, the crazy thing is like our soap operas can have like 180 caps, like an episode. It is
Wow.
crazy. Anyway, yeah, it's been a beautiful adventure. I was lucky enough to start really early.
Mm,
When I was 16, I
mm,
was lucky of being at the right time, at the right place with the right people.
mm,
And basically, I was with a friend who was going for an audition. And the director came to me and he said, like, you have like one of those faces, like those actors' faces.
right.
And basically, he invited me to audition, just improvising.
Mm,
And I got the film. It was a really independent film, but this director started basically to prepare myself and all of that. So it was an amazing experience. And since that, I knew, that that was my life, my career. So then high school became a nightmare. I just wanted to finish the job to basically keep doing what I love, which is acting. And once I finished all my things, my education and all of that, I started to prepare myself. And then I was living in Medellin.
mm,
And let's say, like if you live in Texas, for example. And then I needed to move to the capital, Bogota, which
mm,
would be, LA for us. So then I needed to do that jump. I had a beautiful supporting family, no money at all. So
mm.
basically, I kind of like, had a family who helped me with certain things. And then I got 200 bucks. And I went to the capital saying, you know
Right.
what? I will make it and I will be one of the best actresses. Um, it was really challenging. I didn't have anyone there. No one basically put me on the industry.
Mm,
So that's something I feel really proud about myself. And it was about a year when I got one of the top agents, managers, because for us, basically they combine, the talent,
right.
and
Right.
it's just one figure. And this manager opened an audition for me, and basically that was my first role on a national TV. And
Mm.
it was a great show. And after that, everything escalated up.
Well, this is it. I mean, look, we only have a minute to the break, but you became, I mean, one of the biggest stars in Colombia. Is that fair to say? I mean, how many people? I don't know how many episodes of television you've done in Colombia. It's got to be 500, something like that.
I don't know how many episodes, yeah, but every project was about like almost like a year filming and
Right.
recording. So yeah,
Wow.
many projects, many interesting roles, um, different series, accents, and I got a beautiful recognition. Basically, they gave me like a one of the tabloids said that like the queen of accents, which
Wow.
was really special because basically I was doing like almost any accent in Spanish from
Amazing.
the different places of Colombia.
Well, look, I knew that you were an amazing actress and a very good person, but I didn't know you were royalty, Your Highness. Look, let's go to commercial. But you know, we've got the queen of accents, Carolina Lopez, for 3 more segments on the spotlight. Welcome back to the spotlight. I'm here with Carolina Lopez. Okay, Carolina. Look, one of the reasons I wanted you on the show, except look, you're amazing. I really should have you on their shows. Hire Carolina for everything. She's amazing. She's a really good person too. I know her in real life. But let's talk about the transition from really being one of the biggest stars in Colombia to going to Hollywood, right? Because one thing that I noticed is there's a lot of people who are stars in other country there, and they're all in LA. And I'm like, what is this experience like? So how has this transition been for you going from Colombia to Los Angeles?
Well, it's been challenging, if
Mm,
I'm honest with you. It doesn't mean because you did it in your country, people are going to open up the doors immediately, right?
mm,
So, but I like to be positive. I think you get what you give also. And it's about a matter of time.
mm,
So, um, when I moved, the strikes were going on with
mm,
actors, with the writers. It's been a challenging time in the world. And of course, we see that in art as a repercussion.
mm,
But I have been taking the time to meet people, to do networking and basically understand the industry here, which is
mm,
completely different, different ways of doing things. And but this is a commonality that I have found, and it's like the closer you get, the tighter it becomes.
right, right.
But once you're there, it's amazing. But it's kind of like I'm in a point where I'm not starting, but I'm not where I want to be yet.
Mm,
So I'm in that spot where I'm too big for many people, but I'm still small for certain, top
right.
level industry. So I'm navigating that, but I like to remind myself like, hey, no one kicked you from Colombia. Like you're doing this because you want to, because you're going for the top of the chair,
Right.
like the chair top. And and it should be fun, like you shouldn't suffer the process. And yeah, it's something that I like to remind myself all the time.
Well, look, and I appreciate the honesty. And to be honest, not everybody would be so honest, but maybe, your truth is why you're such an acclaimed actor, right? It's like this is Carolina, and I know you off camera. This is the same person on camera, right? But also, like,
Yeah.
I mean, but also, I wanted to start this whole show showing like that, like you're so experienced and you're so successful and so talented. There's no deny. You can't just do hundreds of episodes of television, especially like I remember talking and you were saying, you're memorizing 20 pages in a day. You're like amazing what you've done.
More than that, like, yeah.
Right. So you know this industry, you know this craft, but as you say, LA is quite different from Colombia. So can you just describe, especially from a veteran perspective, how is LA and Hollywood so different from Colombia?
Well, it's not just different from Colombia. I feel like this is the biggest industry, right?
Mm,
Like everyone wants to be in LA. So
mm,
everyone talks a lot also. And I do appreciate that you're telling me that I am maybe too honest. Uh but that's how I am, and I
mhm,
feel that's what how we should be. I don't think this fake it until you make it is the should be the norm. And I think that's something that we are seeing here. Like many people are leaving because maybe that's not their industry.
mm,
When you talk with most of the people here, it's like everyone is part of the industry in one way or another one, and basically everyone is an actor. And when you ask them, okay, what have you done, it's like, yeah, I acted in my school, so
Right, right,
I
right.
think seriously. So then it's kind of like it's a really interesting spot. Like
Mhm,
everyone is trying to make it. The competition is brutal, and you need to be really centered to kind of like go somewhere because I mean, you have a bunch of people from different places in the world just trying to make it.
Right.
So yeah, you need to stay truthful, honest, and hard work. Most of the time is silent. No
Mhm.
one knows what you're doing behind the scenes, but I like to work in that way. And then it's like you go out and people will see what you have been doing, what you have been preparing,
Right.
instead of just talking and talking.
Well, look, for my money, you are one of the most underrated actresses in Hollywood, and I mean that very sincerely. We've got Carolina Lopez for 2 more segments on the spotlight. Welcome back to the spotlight. I'm here with Carolina Lopez. Okay. Also, Carolina, you've been in Canada, right? Like, and we're shooting in Canada, and it's always nice because I don't know if anybody knows that about your career really. Like you have spent some time in this country. So what was that experience like working in Canada?
Yeah, so I lived in Toronto for about 4 years. Incredibly, we met here in
Right.
LA and never in Toronto.
Right.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, so I left when I was at the peak of my
Mm,
career in Colombia. And it was basically, the choice was like either should I keep going for the Latin American market, so the jump would be going to Mexico, or let's
mm,
say Spain,
mm,
like growing in, still in Spanish, or making the jump and go for North America. So I went
mm,
to the friendliest place in the world to learn English. And yeah, you guys were so patient with me. So basically that was my stepstone there in
mhm,
Canada. I went to learn English, prepare myself. I worked in different films projects, and then the pandemic came. Um, and it was in a really crucial time. I was going to sign with an agent. I remember I got an amazing project for an important platform, and then everything went down. So it was
mhm,
really, you know, uh, m- difficult at the time.
mhm,
But anyway, it happened to all of us, right? It was a tough time, but I took that time to explore my music. I did my own music videos. I won some awards with them. And then I decided to move to US after probably 2 years, being home.
mm,
Yeah, it was enough. So then basically I moved to US and I moved to Miami. So from there it was like an interesting time. Now basically having the connection or have touched a little bit of North America in
right.
Canada, and then being in US and being able to reconnect a little bit with Latin market. So it was kind of like a bridge time in Miami. And then I decided to come to LA,
Mhm,
Everything was kind of like putting me back into my country, the offers and all of that. But I felt like I have been pushing a lot for this. So
mhm.
it's not the time to do it. Um
Let me just jump in
and
for a
and basic
second, right? Because it's
yeah,
it's interesting the career you've had, right? Like, you're top of the top in Colombia. You've worked in Canada. You've worked in LA. It looks like so. I didn't even know like the Latin market in Miami, which I'm sure is a very big market. And you're a seasoned professional. So you've worked in many different film industries, and you can compare them. It's very very
yeah,
powerful. So how would you
yes.
view Canada in the context of all of these different film industries?
Well, I think Canada is growing a lot, actually,
Mm,
and I'm hearing more and more conversations about it right
mm,
now. To be honest, talking with a really important producer, he was actually telling me that basically LA is becoming like the network spot,
mhm,
but not necessarily the main place to work.
mm,
So because of many issues that people are living here in the industry, taxes related, and many things. uh, people are looking for different places, and
Mm,
Canada is a great place. It's safe, of course. Is a little cheaper for the people that are paying in dollars, US dollars. So there are many opportunities going on, great things that are happening in Canada. And
mm,
even like I have heard that many prime shows are basically being done right now in Canada.
mm. Well, look, and we know how honest you are. And even though I'm shooting in Canada, my team is based in LA. My agent, my manager.
Yeah.
But when when I know someone like you with all your experience is looking at the Canadian market, going, "Oh, like there's real growth here." You see the trajectory. I know it's true, and I actually do think you're right. I was just interviewing a big Hollywood producer, and he pretty much said exactly what you said. So I'm looking forward to the final segment with Carolina Lopez on the Spotlight. Welcome back to the Spotlight. I'm here with Carolina Lopez. Okay, Carolina, look, I would never bet against you. Also, you have more Instagram followers than anyone I've never met in my entire life. I don't know how many
Please.
hundreds of thousands. I studied math, but and I can't count them all. But you've got a lot of projects, you get a lot of offers. What's next for you?
There is a possible movie coming in Colombia. I just got an invitation with one of the films I did for this coming Saturday for a Hollywood festival. Let's see what happens there. Um, and let's see. I just signed with actually a Canadian agency,
Mm,
which is really well known in the industry, and is based in Vancouver. So let's see what happens there. I'm basically open, I'm based in LA, but I'm trying to go back and forth in between Canada and US, and let's see. Let's
Well,
let the universe surprise us.
well, it's amazing like how many markets you can work in, right? Like Canada, the US, Colombia. I mean, I don't know, especially you're the queen of accents, so you can play any role. Okay, what's your dream project? Like if you could play any project, any role, what would it be?
Well, I have been working a lot in comedy and drama, and I love
Mm.
both. So, kind of like dramedy is always more than welcome in my life. But as my exes would say, crazies look amazing on me. No, I'm kidding. I just love, like the psychological thrillers. I feel like every complex character that touches levels in between psychic
Mm,
and that deeper humanity levels that we have are so interesting to me. So I love those projects, and yeah, let's see what's coming. Um, Action is something that I started in Canada
mm,
and I have been doing a little bit. It's really interesting. I have been preparing myself with some boxing. And yeah, let's see what is coming. I feel like, to be honest, this is something I feel as an actress is like every character comes to you for a reason, to teach
mm,
you something, to give you something. And of course, you give a lot to
mm.
it also. But yeah, let's see what's coming to me.
What do you think about AI?
Ah, I'm pro humans. I
Right.
think what you don't use, you might lose. So
Mm,
that's my point. Is like if you use AI as a tool to help you with certain things, it can work, right? Like as it was Google at certain point.
mm,
Uh, but if you are using technology in the way that starts to use you, and now we are teaching it, and
mm,
basically for other reasons, which might be underlying some control. Also,
mm.
I feel that's a crazy thing.
No,
Yeah.
look, it's a good take. I pretty much ask everybody in the film industry who comes on the show about AI. It's interesting to see all the different perspectives. Look, we only have a minute left. We've talked about a lot, and I appreciate your honesty, and your warmth and your experience. But what are your final thoughts if you had to wrap up, the state of the industry right now and your trajectory? Where do you land?
I would say this is a really interesting time.
Mm,
And we shouldn't see it like everything is falling apart, although it is,
mm,
because new structures need to, be built. And I think this is the time for those who are creatively entrepreneur, people who want to see a different industry. I have a feeling that we need a new Hollywood. We need new new things, new
mm.
governments, new many things, and we are in charge of that. And the way of doing that is like basically creating from that coherence, that honesty, and you know, uh, keep going. The world needs light. That's what we need.
A brilliant way to end this segment with the brilliant Carolina Lopez. Thank you for coming, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me.
One of the first things I noticed about Los Angeles is just how many people were stars in other countries. First, it's very humbling, but it also shows you just how competitive the Hollywood ecosystem really is. We'll see you next time on The Spotlight.